Hello, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about classifying stars. Now you may ask, why would we want to classify stars? And the answer is the same reason that we classify animals and plants. It makes it much easier to discuss them and to be clear about what we're talking about. So let's look at some of the ways that we classify stars. Now, how many ways can you think of to classify stars? Just think about it. Go ahead and pause the video. Think about it for about 5 or 10 seconds. See how many ways you can come up with. All right, hopefully you've thought of a couple ways at least that you can classify stars. Let's take a look at how scientists actually do classify stars. We're going to start by temperature. Not all stars are the same temperature, so we can classify them by temperature. For example, here I have a star that's 3,000 degrees. Here's another one, and here's yet another one. Looks like we've got some stars that are 25,000 degrees. We can put those in one group. And we've got some stars that are 8,000 degrees, so we put those in another group. Incidentally, scientists measure the temperature of stars in degrees Kelvin or degrees K. It's just another scale that is used for temperature, similar to Fahrenheit or Celsius, but it's one that scientists use quite often. It's not difficult, but for now you just need to know that it does exist. Now, when we classified these by temperature, you may have noticed that stars of the same temperature tend to be the same color, and that is a fact. They are. So another way that scientists classify stars is by color. Again, we'll put the blue ones over here in one group. We'll put the white stars into another group. And we'll put the red stars into a third group. Now keep in mind that it's not quite this easy because a red star may be a light red, more darker red, or maybe turning into a yellowish red, that sort of thing. So there's quite a variation of shades, but we do classify stars by color. Another way that scientists classify stars is by their brightness level. Yes, stars are different brightnesses. It's kind of hard to see that sometimes, but if you do step out at night and look into the sky, you can see that some stars are dimmer than others and some are very bright. Now, the scale we use is to compare stars to our sun. We say that our sun has a brightness level of 1. So any star that is the same brightness as our sun, we're going to say has a brightness level of 1. So we'll put those together. Any star that has a brightness level less than 1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.01, is much dimmer than our sun. And stars that have brightness levels greater than 1, like these, are going to be much brighter than our sun. Now you may say, wait a minute, when I walk outside, there's nothing brighter than our sun. The sun is the brightest thing in the sky. And you would be correct. However, you have to remember that our sun is much closer to the earth than any other star. So because those stars are so far away, even those that are 100 times brighter than our sun, or even 10,000 times brighter than our sun, appear to be dimmer because of their distance. All right, another way to classify stars is by their size, their physical size, and that would not count their brightness rating or their temperature. So let's see, I'll take this one. It looks about, well, maybe those three could go together. They're close. This one, we could probably put that one together with that. Looks like those three might go together. Here we have this star and this star that are similar in size. These two smaller stars seem to go together. And then we have this one very large star all by itself. All right, so those are the 4 ways that scientists typically classify stars. And you may be asking, is there a simpler way to put this together? And the answer is yes, there is. The way scientists do this is they put together what they call a Hertzsprung Russell diagram. Now, this is named after the 2 astronomers who created it, a guy named Ejner Hertzsprung and another guy called Henry Russell. They put this together back in 1910. So this is what the finished product looks like. What we're going to do is we're going to take the graph that's on your video guide, and we're going to put this together in pieces so it'll be a little easier to understand. All right, let's start with a bare bones graph, nothing on it. You may recall from math that this is the x-axis. The horizontal axis is x. The vertical axis is y. Let's overlay some stars onto it. Here we have the stars. This is what you have on your worksheet, and this is where you're going to be starting from. Now, going forward, you're going to need to copy what's on the video onto your paper. All right, we said that one way to classify stars is according to their temperature. We're going to put that on the x-axis, So there's what it looks like. I need you to notice one thing particular about this, though. Normally, the x-axis, you have 0 or lowest numbers here, and they go to the largest numbers as you move to the right. On this diagram, it is just the opposite. The high temperatures are at the origin, and the lowest temperatures are to the right on the x-axis. So if we look at this, we can interpret this graph and say that these stars over on this side are cooler than these stars over on this side. In fact, these are about 50,000 degrees over here, and these are less than 3,800 degrees over here. All right, we also said that temperature kind of goes with color, so let's add some color to this. Here are the colors. Notice that over here with the cooler temperatures, we have the reds. They change to orange, they change to yellow, they change to white as they get hotter. And the very hottest stars over here are blue. These little stars down here are also white. And these giant stars up here are mostly red because they're bigger and they are cooler. All right, let's add our next criteria, or our next characteristic, which is brightness. We'll put that over here on the y-axis. Notice that one sun is about here on this line. So if we follow this line across, our sun is probably one of these 2, and you would be correct. This one right here represents our sun. Notice that anything above this line is brighter. So all of these stars up here are brighter than our sun. And notice that below this line is less than one sun. So all of these stars down here are dimmer or less bright than our sun. All right, we need to add size. Up here we have the supergiant stars, and you remember seeing those in a previous video. Here we have the giant red stars. Our sun is a medium-sized star, and this whole band here in the middle are primarily medium-sized stars, and we call them main sequence stars. These are the majority of the stars in the universe. They are main sequence stars, and they are medium-sized stars. These stars over here, the white dwarfs, are very old stars. They're close to the end of their life. And they are called dwarf stars because they're smaller than all the others. All right, so there you have it. It's the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram. There it is complete. You see how we built it. Should be easy to understand. Let's put some stars on here and just see if we can interpret it a little bit. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, and 4 stars to our graph. Notice that this one is the sun. Over here we have Bernard star. Up here we have Betelgeuse, and over here we have Rigel. So if I were to ask you which stars that we named are brighter than our sun, Well, you would have to come to the y-axis to look at the brightness levels. Here is our sun at 1, so anything above this is going to be brighter. So we have two of the stars, Rigel and Betelgeuse. Now, if I were to ask you which of these four stars are cooler than our sun, well, you would look at the temperature down here. Remember, it gets cooler as you go to the right. So you find our sun, and the stars to the right of that are Barnard star and Betelgeuse. They are cooler than our sun. So there you have it, the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram. I hope you understand how it works. If you have any questions about it, please get with your teacher. And after you've had a little bit of time to study this, maybe ask yourself a few questions. Finish the questions in your video guide, and then there is an activity that you will be required to do. So there you have it. Take care, my friends. Keep learning.